You think being born is always a blessing? Some animals got dealt such a terrible hand that existence itself feels like a cosmic prank. We're talking about creatures whose bodies actively work against them, whose survival depends on the most horrific strategies imaginable, and whose evolutionary path took a hard left turn into nightmare territory. These animals didn't just get unlucky, they got monumentally screwed by nature's design process. Number 1. The panda's biological disaster. Giant pandas are basically animals that decided to quit halfway through evolution and nobody stopped them. They have the digestive system of a carnivore, but eat exclusively bamboo, which means they extract almost no nutrients from their food and have to eat for 14 hours straight every day just to not starve. Their babies are born pink, blind, and about the size of a stick of butter, weighing roughly 1/900th of what their mother weighs. That's like a human giving birth to a baby the size of a grape. Female pandas are only fertile for 24 to 72 hours per year, and males are so incompetent at mating that scientists had to make panda porn to teach them how to reproduce. When twins are born, the mother just picks one and lets the other die because she can't handle raising both. They're bears that evolved themselves into an evolutionary corner and now require billions of dollars in human intervention to not go extinct. Number 2. The sunfish's existential nightmare. The ocean sunfish is what happens when evolution gives up and walks away from the drawing board. This thing is the world's heaviest bony fish, weighing up to 5,000 pounds. But it's basically just a floating head with fins, because it never developed a proper tail. Sunfish produce more eggs than any vertebrate on Earth, up to 300 million at once, because roughly 99.9999% of their offspring die almost immediately. They can't swim against currents, get parasitized by over 40 different species, and spend their days floating sideways on the surface like aquatic roadkill, hoping birds will eat the bugs off their skin. Their skin is so thick and rough that it's called grit, but they're still somehow constantly infected with parasites. A sunfish gets born, drifts around being eaten alive by parasites, maybe survives long enough to release millions of doomed babies, then dies. That's the entire life plan. Number 3. The koala's stupidity crisis. Koalas have smooth brains. Literally smooth. Most mammals have folds in their brains that increase surface area for processing information. But koala brains are smooth as eggs and take up only 61% of their skull cavity, with the rest being filled with cerebrospinal fluid. They're so dumb that if you put eucalyptus leaves on a plate instead of on a branch, they won't recognize them as food and will starve. Speaking of eucalyptus, they eat the most toxic, least nutritious leaves on the planet and sleep 22 hours a day because their food gives them basically zero energy. Baby koalas called joeys have to eat their mother's feces, specifically a substance called pap, to get the gut bacteria needed to digest eucalyptus, which means their lives start by eating toxic poop to prepare for a lifetime of eating toxic leaves. Koalas also have one of the highest rates of chlamydia of any animal, with some populations showing infection rates over 90%. Making them simultaneously stupid, lazy, and riddled with venereal disease. Number 4. The naked mole rat's underground horror. Naked mole rats look like uncircumcised thumbs with teeth, and they live in underground colonies ruled by one breeding queen like horrific insects. These things can survive 18 minutes without oxygen, live in tunnels filled with carbon dioxide levels that would kill most mammals, and are basically immune to cancer because of their weird cellular structure. They're cold-blooded mammals, which shouldn't even be possible, and they can't regulate their own body temperature. The queen suppresses the reproduction of all other females through stress and bullying, and if she dies, the remaining females fight brutally until one wins and becomes the new queen. Workers are essentially sterile slaves who spend their entire lives digging tunnels and feeding the queen's endless babies. They eat their own feces for nutrients and can move their front teeth independently like chopsticks. These animals evolved to live like ants, but kept the mammal body plan, creating something that seems designed to suffer underground forever. Number 5. The mayfly's brief existence. Adult mayflies don't have functional mouths or digestive systems because they only live for about 24 hours, and eating would waste precious time. Some species only survive for 5 minutes after emerging from the water. They spend 1 to 2 years as aquatic nymphs, finally transform into adults, have a few hours to mate, lay eggs, and then die. The males form massive swarms, mate in midair, and drop dead. Females lay their eggs and die immediately after. Imagine spending literal years preparing for one single day of adulthood. Except you don't even get the full day, and you can't eat during it, and your only purpose is to have sex once before your body shuts down. Their scientific name is Ephemeroptera, which literally means short-lived wing, because even scientists looked at them and said, yeah, these guys are just here to die. Some mayflies emerge, reproduce, and die all within the span of a lunch break. Number 6. The Suriname toad's skin nightmare. The Suriname toad gives birth through holes in her back, and it's exactly as disturbing as that sounds. After mating, the male fertilizes the eggs and presses them into the female's back, where her skin swells up and forms pockets around each egg. Over the next few months, the eggs develop under her skin in these little chambers, and you can see the baby toads moving around under there. When they're ready, fully formed toadlets emerge by rupturing through the skin pockets on her back. She doesn't lay eggs in water like a normal amphibian. She becomes the water. Her back turns into a living nursery that looks like something from a body horror film, with dozens of baby toads erupting from beneath her skin. After giving birth this way, the skin layer sloughs off and she grows a new one to start the process over. Imagine your reproductive strategy being to absorb your children into your back and then have them tear their way out months later. Number 7. The hyena's birth canal problem. Female spotted hyenas have a pseudopenis, that's basically an enlarged clitoris, and they give birth through it. This appendage is nearly identical in size to the male's actual penis, making it almost impossible to tell the sexes apart. Giving birth through this structure is so difficult that first-time mothers have a mortality rate of around 60%, and about 60% of cubs suffocate in the extended birth canal during their first birth. The pseudopenis has to tear during birth to allow the cub to pass through, and infections from this tearing can kill the mother. Cubs are born with teeth and immediately start fighting each other, with the weaker sibling often getting killed by the stronger one in what scientists call siblicide. Female hyenas are larger and more aggressive than males because they have higher testosterone levels than the males do, which is what causes the pseudopenis in the first place. Evolution gave female hyenas a birth canal that actively tries to kill them and their babies. Number 8. The sloth's moss garden body. Sloths move so slowly that algae grows on their fur, and they're so energy deficient that they can starve to death on a full stomach if the temperature drops too low because they can't digest their food. They poop once a week and have to climb down from their trees to do it, which is when half of all sloth deaths occur, because they're vulnerable to predators on the ground. This weekly bathroom trip uses up about 8% of their total energy. Their fur grows in the opposite direction from most mammals, from stomach to back, so rain runs off them while they hang upside down. Sloths host entire ecosystems in their fur, including moths, beetles, and fungi, making them basically mobile terrariums. They can rotate their heads 270 degrees because they have extra neck vertebrae, but they're so weak that they sometimes mistake their own arms for tree branches and grab them, falling to their deaths. A sloth's entire survival strategy is to move so little that predators don't notice them, which works until it doesn't. Number 9. The hagfish's slime defense. Hagfish are jawless fish that look like eels made of nightmares and produce slime as a defense mechanism. Except they produce so much slime that they can actually suffocate themselves in it. When threatened, a single hagfish can turn a 20-liter bucket of water into slime in seconds by releasing protein threads that combine with seawater. They tie themselves in knots to scrape the slime off their own bodies or to gain leverage while eating. Hagfish eat by burrowing into dead or dying animals and eating them from the inside out. And they have 4 hearts pumping blood through their disgusting bodies. They're basically unchanged for 300 million years, meaning evolution looked at them and decided they were already so terrible that improvement was impossible. Sometimes hagfish get caught in fishing nets and produce so much slime that they create a massive slime blob containing thousands of suffocated fish and the hagfish themselves. They're so primitive they don't even have a proper skeleton, just a notochord made of cartilage. Number 10. The echidna's reproductive absurdity. Male echidnas have 4-headed penises, but only use 2 heads at a time, alternating which pair they use between mating sessions. Females have 2 branched reproductive tracts to match this nightmare. During mating season, up to 10 males will follow a female in a line called a train for up to 4 weeks until she's ready to mate. And then they dig a circular trench around her and shove each other until one wins. The female lays a single leathery egg about 2 weeks after mating and keeps it in a pouch on her belly. The baby, called a puggle, hatches after 10 days and laps up milk from specialized patches of skin because echidnas don't have nipples. When the puggle develops spines, the mother digs a burrow and leaves it there, coming back every few days to feed it for months. Echidnas are monotremes, egg-laying mammals that seem like evolution's rough draft that somehow survived. They're covered in spines, have a weird beak, lay eggs, and the males have a 4-pronged genital situation that nobody asked for. Number 11. Nature's design failures. Every one of these animals represents a different flavor of evolutionary compromise or outright mistake. Some got locked into diets that can't sustain them. Some developed reproductive systems that kill them. Some are so stupid or slow or poorly designed that survival feels like an accident. The panda should have gone extinct without human intervention. The sunfish exists in spite of its own body. The mayfly gets 1 day after years of waiting. These animals didn't just get unlucky. They got built wrong from the start, and now they're stuck with bodies and lives that seem designed to maximize suffering or absurdity. Evolution doesn't care about fairness or comfort, just whatever barely works well enough to make more copies. The animal kingdom is full of creatures that make you wonder how they're still here. And the answer is usually either blind luck or the fact that nothing has successfully killed all of them yet. These animals aren't thriving, they're persisting, clinging to existence through strategies that seem deliberately inefficient or actively harmful. And as always, I love you guys.